Right, so I'm just getting a small amount of purified linseed oil on the brush. You see it there? Purified linseed oil it is what I'm using, and I'm just going to put a thin even coat of that over everything on the canvas basically. Goes a long way with this stuff, so you can pick that colour up and you can move it around. And you'll see a glimmer when you've got enough on there. It'll just shine a tiny bit, just like it does when you glaze it afterwards. When you finish and you varnish it, it gives it that lovely sheen, and you can tell the dull areas are where you need to go over. Don't add too much. Too much is worse than too little with this. You just want just enough. See that? You can just keep, once you've got it on your brush, it'll just keep spreading in those areas. I know you probably can't see much on there, but you've got to get the whole of the canvas over the whole of the stream and everything that I've done. You might be wondering why I've done all this in acrylics and then why I'm going over the top with oils. You will see very shortly that by doing that I can use oils in a very transparent way over the top of my acrylics, and it allows you to do it so that it doesn't mix and blur with all the greens that you've got in there. So over painting with oils is a wonderful way of painting. I really do adore it, but you cannot put oils underneath acrylics. You can't paint oil paints and then paint over the top of acrylics. If you do that, it'll peel off in a short space of time, a few years, and you want your paints to last centuries. With a nice even, thin even coat everywhere. Sometimes it's advisable, if you're a beginner, to get a paper towel once you've done that, and just get the paper towel and take off all the excess. Yeah? See that? It'll still leave it on there, just enough, so it slips and slides over there. If you have too much, it can actually grip the paint rather than helping it slide. So there you go. Right, now at this stage, first of all, I'm just going to mix a lavender colour with the ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, and the smallest amount of black to that as well, just to naturalise the colour. The black will help to just naturalise it. It's going to be very dark. Using this in a transparent way, and all these colours are transparent, so we use small amounts of paint on the brush and they'll be very transparent, all these colours. The alizarin crimsons are really very bright and very transparent also. So I just want to try a bit of that in there, just have a look. I think ultramarine blue's not quite as powerful as I thought, so I'm just going to put some more of that in there, the ultramarine. See, I just tested the colour though first. Just tested it just to see what the crack was. So have a look at that. Sometimes scrub it on your board and you can see what it's going to be like. I use a majority of that blue in there, and that should be somewhere near what I'm wanting. Even now, I've just been tweaking with this colour. I'll still put some white with it. Mix it really well first, and then I'll mix a bit of white with it just to see. See, that's more to the blue tone now. Brilliant. Don't want a lot of white in with that though, it's transparent, and titanium white is an opaque colour. I was just testing with that. So where that white is, I can just pull that away. Right, so I'm going to get a 1-inch brush now, and we're going to start with this painting. Always keep your tools and your brushes and everything as clean as possible, especially your knife, because it'll spread all over. Right, so I'm just going to go to a 1-inch brush Now I wear my brushes down, and I use the longer brushes when I'm wanting to blend, and the shorter brushes I will use for stippling. Once I've worn them down to say about there, I'll start using them for stippling because they're really stiff then. It works a treat. Right, so with this lavender colour that we've got here, I'm just going to tap into that. See how I've only got a tiny bit of paint on there? If I go onto my palette there, you can see it. You've still got that colour, but it's quite muted. I might get a tiny bit more blue to that. See that? Just enough to change that twang. I can use this colour throughout then. Happy with that. So now I'm just going to come up in here. I want it a bit darker on the edges, and then I'm going to leave a light source from where my sunlight's going to come. See that? I just let that blue go in there, and it'll go over everything. You can actually rub it out when it goes on a tree, but it don't actually make a difference. Just let that go in between them trees. It'll shine through the branches sometimes. And this is my light area, so I have to be careful in there when doing this, because I don't want to destroy all the light. I want the light there, so basically I'll go up the top of the canvas just in there. See how thin the amount of paint is? It doesn't cover any of the other paint up at all because it's so thin. There. And just underneath that as well, about there, I want to put some of that in. A little bit of that colour. And maybe gently put some in and leave that light area in there. Now I've still got paint on my brush, and I'm just gently rubbing it in, scrubbing that in. There. And then I know I want it darker on the edges, like I did have over there, so I can use that darker colour just in there. Maybe just coming out of there as well. Try not to go over the trees if you can avoid it. You know, like over this, just come at the side of it. So I want to keep them colours from the acrylics staying there. I want them to stay in there. Don't want to destroy them all. So just blend that into there, a bit darker as well. Same in there. You can move this paint around on here. Absolutely move it around. The liquid clear or the linseed oil that you use will work a treat for that. So you can blend out some areas if you get a bit dark or that blended enough. Even in there I can just gently blend around that sunlit area. See that? Where I've just left it glowing. I'm going to get the darker colour again and just use it on these edges. I just want it to be predominantly darker on there. It'll draw your eye into where the light is by doing this. If you go over your tree again, just rub it with your finger. The linseed oil will just mix it to it. That'll be fine. Bit of that colour just in there. Yeah. Make it that bit darker on the edges, and underneath here you can also make it a bit darker. So I'm still avoiding the trees the best I can. Scrub that colour in there. Just some of that darker stuff. Have a bit more of that going on. Underneath there, the same thing. Just going to do the same thing that I did on that side now, on this side. Now that'll really make it more intense, the light area, by having the contrast of these darks. That's the one. then just let it blend away to something softer and lighter in there. Right, so at this stage I just want to come back with a clean brush, just a totally clean brush, a blender brush. Come into the light area first, but don't drag this colour into the light area. There. Use it mainly for the darks, just to soften some of them, sit them down. Yeah, that's it. Make them soft. Now I've missed a little area just up in here. Try and get every little bit where the sun shows, glimmers through the trees, even in there a bit. You want that colour. So brilliant. Blend this side now again, same as I did with the other. Now what you can do at this stage, a little trick that I'll show you. If you've got any colour over your trees and you think it's dulled them down at all, like for instance this one here, I'll use a paper towel, go in there and straight back to normal again now. You're taking the paint back off what you put over. Same in here where I highlighted this one. I just want to take off that excess paint that I put on there. It'll keep that highlight nice. Same on here. Love it. Bringing the light out of the darkness. Same in there. I think I'll do the same on this one. Well, that is quite a bit darker anyway. Brings that brown back that you put into it, you see. Sometimes do it small with your finger. And you can get in these little areas, like in there, just to take off any excess paint that's gone over them. It's brilliant. The linseed oil just lets it slip over the top without destroying everything. It's smart. Right, I'm happy with that. Anywhere you see it's a bit too bright underneath there, just darken that off a bit as well. Again, it'll put all the emphasis on that. You know, that's where the light is coming from there. Brilliant. That's why I made it a bit darker under here as well, just to make it stand out. And above, just a blend, a gentle blend of it above. Right, I'm ready to start now. Now that same colour that we've used, the lavender, I'm going to have a little waterfall coming down here. So I just want to actually apply some of that colour into there. That's good. Now another thing that I'm thinking of is I want to use like a rusty type colour. So for that I'm going to use it with a knife. Indian yellow or a strong cadmium yellow, whichever, and a little bit of alizarin crimson. Very, very strong colour. Get some more of that yellow, didn't get enough. Right, in fact I'll put that there. Got miles too much of the crimson. It's more like it. Both these colours again are transparent. Very transparent colour. Mix that well in there. And you get the minerals running down in the water. You actually get all these minerals running down through the water because the water's gone through the rocks and through the soil and everything before it's got to the stream. So this colour is a beautiful colour that you see a lot in Scotland, Yorkshire, all over them countries, all over the part of the country where there's a lot of limestone and stuff like that. Right, so I'm going to come back to a clean brush and I'm just going to tap a bit of that colour, transparent amount, small amount of that colour in there, and then now and again just in here I'm going to make it look rusty. See that? Small amount of that just over them. And then sometimes we're going to use the lavender as well. And then what we'll do once we've done that, we'll come back and we will put the smallest amount of white to it. There. See that? It's a lovely rusty colour from the minerals. And I want to use a tiny bit of that colour also up in here where I put the lavender. Just so it'll mix with it basically. And on there. So what I'll do, I'll just use a clean brush again. You've got to have a lot of clean brushes around when you're doing this. Obviously for the blending. So I'll blend that in to the lavender that I had in there already, and it'll just change the twang of it. I know that's dark and you can't really see it that well, but it is there. Now the lavender, I'll pull some of that lavender in certain areas. There, see that? Just now and again I want it to hit that, hit a bit of lavender. Same up in there. Let it hit some lavender now and again. I really just love doing these types of paintings. It's awesome. Right, now I'm going to go to a fan brush. And I'm just going to pull straight through titanium white first. And then get a bit of this lavender colour. See that in there? It'll mix with the lavender that you've got on there. And I don't want it very dark at first. Sorry, really light. I don't want it too light, so I'm mixing it with this. And then just in here, I'm going to come from where this rock is basically, it's coming from the side of that. Along, over and down. Just a little crash there. That's it. It's actually falling just down in there. Something like so. And then when it gets to that stage, there's a tiny little splash. Underneath that, just a splash. And all I'm doing there is I pulled that paint out, I'm just tapping into it. And then just touch underneath where that drop has hit. Just in there. You use the sides sometimes, just the corner. Make it like it's splashed up a bit. Something. And then again, the same colour. I'm going to come along to that there, and just let it drop. So I'm coming along. And just pull the plug out. Let that drop down into there. And the edges, it's important to get a nice, see that? A nice drop. Same again, I can have that come in. Something like so. You can actually leave areas in there as well, just like I have. And maybe it hits a little rock in there. It just drops over. And then on the other side, just there, maybe it hits. And that'll be predominantly lighter than what's there already. You know. Don't lose all your dark though when you're doing these. Now, I've started to run out of paint slightly, so while I'm like that, I can just come in here and just, in fact, I'm going to use a clean, there's enough colour in there already, so as long as your brush is pretty good, you can use that and just come back in here and just gently blend that out, so a bit of that colour into there. That's it. Don't kill all your dark. That's good. It's like it's pooling in there a tiny bit. Happy. Now we're going to put some little boulders and rocks around this and in it. So for now I just want to go back to my fan brush again with the white on. Just going to get straight titanium white. Both sides loaded to a chiselled edge. And I'm just going to come in here. See that? Same at that side. just enough over the tops. Same with this one, we come just over the top and then a little drop. That's it. And these highlights are very important. Let that go. Even on there you can just take a little bit of that and just let it go over. Love it. That's it. Very happy. Sometimes just use the brush on its side like so, and you can pull down certain areas where it's a bit brighter. See that? Just here and there, do that. And a bit of that colour is still in there, that orangey colour. It's just a little bit of it still in there. Right, we're going to have some rocks up in there. So I'm just figuring out in my mind how I want it to go. First of all, so I wanted it a bit more solid just in that spot, and then just underneath there we're going to have it hitting something as well. That's it. So if I just tap, and it'll give you these lovely streaks that come down. It's like it's forming up already before it's hit the bottom. And if you leave some of them shadows like I've mentioned, that will work so well for you. Happy. Right then, so now I'm going back to my filbert brush, the one that I've used for the rocks, and I'm going to mix some Van Dyke brown, straight Van Dyke brown, a little bit of this lavender colour as well, and a bit of burnt sienna. So brown, burnt sienna and a bit of the lavender colour that I mixed before. Both sides of the brush, and then one side pulled through with the white. Just one side, so again you've got dark and light. Now, just up in here, I want this to have a boulder. See that? Just going to block all that off basically. Blend behind it slightly. I only want it bright on the top. Everywhere else I don't want it bright. See that? And same under there. A bit of rock showing wet sunlight, just hitting it in there. But don't kill that shadow. Now, so look at this. Maybe another one that's just up there. Put a bit of highlight just on top of that one as well. It's amazing what you can get away with when you're doing this. I want the sun to be hitting in there, you see. Maybe just in here we've got one that's closing in the waterfall basically. That's what's holding all this water in. So you can even just now and again just let it jut out in front of it. So I'll just get a bit more of the dark to go behind there, the shadow. And that rock's coming down there. Use the dark as well, that's surely going to be in your favour. Anywhere you see, like up in here, want a little rock there that's going to get some sunshine, maybe just a tiny bit blistering through there, blistering through the trees. here, just here, I want to actually make it look like this rock is separate. See that, just in there. Not too bright underneath it, but allow it to mix with the brown you've got on the back of your brush. Maybe that comes down in front of that. So just like so. Nice. Right, at this stage I am pretty much now ready to start doing this water. Putting a bit more dark under there so it's not quite as bright as it was. Just in the shadows. That's it. Right, now we're on to the fun part. So, just in here where you can actually see underneath there. In fact, I need to use a fan brush first for this. A little step ahead of myself, because underneath there you're going to have a splash where it hit down in there. Tap just above it as well. That water's crashing and smashing about in there then. And then from that, I might even just use the lavender one. You can just come along underneath it and just gently put some movement in there, some movement in the water. See that, all these little ripples and stuff, just have all that going on. Quite busy underneath there. Bounce a bit as well as water and all this crashing that's going on. So I'm just going to use that lavender colour first. Take a bit out of there. Allow them ripples in there. And it just slips over the top so beautifully when you do this. I absolutely love it. There we go. Now, just in certain areas in here, you can actually use a 1-inch brush. Gently blend that out first. Drag them out. Blend them soft. The one. Now there's quite a bit of water coming over there, so where that splashing is, I just want to bring some of it into this area as well. So just tap in there. There we go. And this will just look like little ripples where it's hitting on the tops of the stones. And you get these little ripples all over, even maybe there, just over where it's getting hit by these. You need an open bristle for this, so by getting to get that you just tap and it'll open the bristles up for you. Bit of foam just around the edge of the water there. Just nice. Happy. Bit more crashing going on in there. That's it. Maybe it's hit something just in there. Get that movement, because there's quite a bit of water coming down there. And you will see the movement in there. Just don't cover up all the rocks that you can see underneath. Leave some of them showing. You need to leave some of them. It'll really be effective. People will wonder how the hell we managed to do it. Great. Now, I'm just going to use a big brush. First of all, I'm just going to get both the big brush and the 1-inch brush basically. First of all, I just want to get the big one, pull the tiniest bit of titanium white. See that white? I just pulled through it a tiny bit and then tapped it out so that the brush is literally just stained with white. See that in there? Now, just in here, I want some sunlight coming through, some rays of sunlight. So I'm just going to tap with that colour. Yeah? Again, tap into the white and just have that just in there, coming from the light area. And maybe got another one just in here that comes from there. It comes through and hits it there. So that's another one we've got. And then I would say we'll have one coming through here, hitting that bush. So you see how I'm just tapping the paint on there at first? That's all I'm thinking about, just getting that paint on there. And then once it's on there, I will use a clean brush. Make sure there's no hairs in it or anything like that. Just a clean brush. And then gently pull it over it. See that? Just make it look like sunshine zinging through there. That's it. Same in there. Just let it go. Really soft. On this one, be careful because I painted that in, and it'll make it look like the light's actually coming over the rock. See that? So just touch it, pull, and whew, actually looks like the light's coming right over that rock. There we go. Very, very dappled. And when that's hitting there, you see, it's giving a wonderful effect. Same with this one here. Just gently pull down on that. And then let it come over the rock again. Just in there. Gentle. There. So you've got all these little bits blistering through there. Now you can actually use a 1-inch brush as well. Here and there you can just tap a bit more white if you want it to just brighten up a bit. And then again you will just gently blend over that. Now I'm going to use a fan brush for this now. And then just now and again I like to tap this array of sunshine, just blistering out with that. See that? So you've got a few little ones coming out. Same here, where this one's coming down, just allow another one to come through there. Even leave it there and then just gently come over that. It'll just vanish off. Love it. Right, now over in here I've got this moss and I want a little bit of this to actually come through and hit that moss, you see. So we've got a little bit coming through there and then maybe another little bit coming through there. So just tap the white on first. There's not a lot of paint, And then with that, because this is all done in acrylics, you can come right over the top of that. There. Just let it stretch out. There we go. And that's what's lighting these up, basically. Touch and pull. See that? It's a wonderful effect. It works so very well. You have to think ahead when you're painting a lot of the time. I like to do that. Think ahead what you're going to do. Now, I'm going to actually have one more coming over. Try to figure out where. I think I'm going to leave that side. We'll just have a tiny bit coming out and hitting it there. Let's try that, see if that's enough. Yes, perfect. Perfect. That's it. So that's lighting this bush up now. And then just over in here, tapping again, and just so soft. Where it's sun's brighter, you'll find that it comes out a little bit brighter. Right. Okay, just up in here. There's another little bit coming through. A bit more subtle, a bit more soft. There we go. Right, that's exactly what I was wanting for that. Now just up in here where I've got these, I can actually touch there and lift up on that a bit as well. See what I just did, and accidentally got some over that. You can just use the paper towel and it'll wipe off. See that? Because that's acrylic underneath. It's really cool. Right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to use my fan brush to create some lovely things in the foreground in here. So I'm going to use cadmium yellow, quite a bit of cadmium yellow, and I want somewhere to sit out here. I want to be able to chill out and relax. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use that colour. I'm just going to come up in here and gently just put some grass in. In fact, I might get a bit more of the sap green. It's too bright. It's too bright for what I'm wanting. There we go. That's more like it. And leave shadows in there. I'll do the shadows first normally. I'm going to have this as though it's going up higher. See that? It's raising up, because usually the water creates that sort of effect where it's worn it all away and made it all erode all the soil just in there. That's it. Same again, just in here. I want grass in there, and it's going to grow up to there. Just on the tops, make it a tiny bit brighter. There we go. Just going to get some of the dark green. Put some of that in there. Darker towards the edges. Much darker towards the edges. Nice one. A bit of that coming out of there. And then we'll put put some little boulders and some rocks in. Brilliant. So got a lovely little spot to sit now. Now just in here, just going to tap. And I'm going to change the colour tone to the Indian yellow. No, Indian yellow. And I'm just going to use that in between. Don't want it all the same, you see. Just allow that to actually go blend into that other grass. Sometimes you can touch the brush like so and create little effects. Other time you can touch the brush like so and create other little effects. There's all sorts of things that you can do. You can just tap it like that, and it just gives different textures and different shapes when you do this. Just like it's a little wet area there where the water's been crashing over onto it. Use a brush flat sometimes, like so. Use it like that again at other times. So we've got a lot of that yellow, that lovely Indian yellow in there. So it's not all one flat colour. There we go. Right, so the idea now is to just go back to my filbert brush, get the dark brown with the lavender again, both of them together. The lavender just helps darken it slightly as well. And then one side through the light colour again, like we have been doing throughout. So you've got dark and light again on both sides of your brush. Just going to come in here and paint a few little rocks. Especially on the edges where the water is, because the rocks are underneath. There's more than likely going to be rocks just above on the edges. So put a lot of that in there, just like it's a little beach. Sometimes put a bigger one in. See that? Just a bigger one. A few little ones. Maybe you can see the odd one in the water. Then I'm just going to do a big one. Show you how to do a big one in the foreground. It's a bit too bright for me at the moment. So I just go back into my dark again. See that? Put a shadow on the back and allow it to be lit up on the top slightly. Don't want that too bright though. Something like so. Maybe we've got another one just in there. I love doing these big rocks. Really love doing them. One in there as well, just coming down. And that's going to be in hit by a bit of sunlight as well. Black and dark behind it. There's a bit of straight black just in there as well. Now I'm about to call this painting finished. What I'm going to do first, because I said I'm going to use a palette knife and make this tree a little silver birch. Really simple when you're doing silver birch. I just use white, bit of that